The Galactic Council chamber was cold, not in temperature, but in atmosphere. Marble floors stretched like a frozen ocean beneath Elias Rourke's polished boots, reflecting the glow of the chandeliers floating midair like artificial stars. The assembled delegates, scaled, furred, feathered, and silicon-skinned, spoke in hushed tones, voices dipping as he passed. He was used to the looks by now. The lone human among 212 alien species, Rourke stood tall in his tailored black suit, a silver pin shaped like Earth's insignia glinting faintly on his lapel. His posture was perfect, hands relaxed at his sides. His face betrayed nothing. The murmurs ceased when High-Legate Threxel rose. 8 feet tall, wrapped in ceremonial red armor, Threxel's chitin plates clicked as he turned to face the chamber. His 4 slitted eyes narrowed at Rourke with undisguised contempt. "Let the record show," Threxel began, his voice a guttural grind, "that the human species has been found in violation of Galactic Directive 17C, unauthorized military research, secret fleet expansions, weaponization of Jupiter's moons." Rourke remained still. He did not blink. "Do you deny this, Ambassador Rourke?" He stepped forward, voice calm. "I deny your interpretation of reality." Soft laughter rippled among the seats, nervous, mocking. Threxel sneered. "Interpretation? We have images. Movements tracked by Pulsari satellites. Energy signatures inconsistent with civilian-grade reactors. And yet," Rourke replied, "no formal requests for clarification. No diplomatic channels engaged. Just accusations." A green-skinned arbiter from the Torvan enclave hissed, "Because humans hide everything." Rourke looked at her. "We conceal what others exploit. Our restraint is not permission." The chamber fell into a thick silence. Councillor Kralek, a gelatinous being with 12 oscillating voices, floated forward. "High Legate, your motion?" Threxel's claws tapped his podium. "I move for immediate action. Humanity must be subdued. Their sovereignty revoked. Their weapons confiscated." There it was. Rourke inhaled once, slow and controlled. "Let me speak before you vote." The arbiter hesitated. Threxel growled. "What could you possibly say that we haven't already dismissed?" Rourke's gaze swept the chamber. "Perhaps, everything you refuse to see." He stepped forward again, voice steady. "Humanity joined this council 72 years ago. Since then, we've followed your protocols. We've contributed resources, offered scientific breakthroughs, and restrained our military development per agreement. But restraint is not weakness. And peace is not submission." The room stirred. "You look at us and see a threat. But let me be clear. Earth has endured extinction-level events, wars that burned continents, and the vacuum of isolation for centuries. We didn't survive by accident. We survived because we adapt. Because we remember." Threxel scoffed. "You remember war. That is your species' flaw." Rourke's voice grew colder. "No. Our flaw was believing peace alone would protect us." A transmission flickered in his earpiece. One coded word: breach. His jaw clenched for a fraction of a second. He continued, voice unwavering. "High Legate, while you sit here in gilded armor, pretending to be a guardian of order, your fleets approach our home. Mars. Titan. Our stations are being shadowed. You've already declared your war. So do not insult us with pretend diplomacy." Whispers turned to murmurs. Even Kralek paused mid-bubble. Threxel leaned forward. "We gave you a choice." Rourke met his eyes. "So will we." He turned to the chamber. "Let the Council understand this now. Earth will not surrender. We will not kneel. And if you choose war, if you force it upon us, you will discover exactly what you've provoked." The silence that followed was deafening. Then Threxel spoke, slow and deliberate. "You threaten the Council?" "No," Rourke said, voice like steel. "I promise the Council, Earth will not die quietly." The gavel fell. "Motion for vote proceeds," Kralek's voice echoed. "Delegates, prepare your responses." As lights began blinking across the chamber, blue for peace, red for enforcement, Rourke stepped back, expression unreadable. He tapped his comm discreetly. Secure channel. Earth command. A whisper responded. Channel open. He spoke quietly. Initiate protocol Iron Veil. Activate Sentinel Aegis. This is not a drill. Confirmed. He ended the call and straightened his jacket. The council continued to vote. They believed him outgunned, isolated, one voice among many. But they hadn't listened. They hadn't seen the quiet shifts, the patience, the silence Earth had held not out of fear, but choice. They wanted war? He glanced up at the council seal above, slowly rotating in artificial gravity. Then they'd have it. Elias Rourke sat alone in his private diplomatic suite, the ambient light dimmed to twilight levels. The stars outside the viewport shimmered like distant embers, cold, indifferent. Somewhere beyond those specks of light, Earth rotated quietly, unaware that its fate had just been placed on a council vote tally. He poured a small glass of Tarkin brandy. Not for the drink, he needed the illusion of control. His hands were steady, but the message he just received kept repeating in his mind: Zorkai fleet mobilized. ETA 19 hours. He took a sip and set the glass down untouched. The door chimed. He didn't answer, but it opened anyway. Bad news travels quickly, came a familiar voice. Low, gravelly. Female. Rourke turned. Ambassador Velari of the Chlorothi Dominion stepped into the room, her black robes trailing behind her like smoke. Chlorothi eyes were known for their transparency, literal and metaphorical, but tonight hers were unreadable. Your people spying for us again? He asked. She approached the table and stood across from him. No, she said. For me. I don't trust Threxel. I haven't since he erased an entire moon colony and blamed seismic instability. Rourke folded his hands. How bad is it? The vote will pass, she said flatly. Threxel's lined up support for weeks. He's been bribing mid-tier species, whispering about human expansionism. He wants Earth preemptively disarmed. He leaned back. Funny. We're the only ones who kept every treaty. Which makes you a threat, Velari said. You obeyed the rules too well. Makes them wonder what you're hiding. She handed him a data wafer. Surveillance confirms a Zorkai war group entered stealth transit towards Seoul 2 hours ago. 20 ships. Not scouts. He stared at the wafer. No declaration of war. Because they want you to fire first. Make it easy to paint Earth as the aggressor. He stood, moving to the viewport. Threxel doesn't understand humanity. No, Velari said. He understands fear. He just thinks yours looks like his. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, Rourke turned. Will your people vote with him? My vote is symbolic. Chlorothi aren't a military species. But I've warned my delegation, if this becomes war, Earth is not the species we want on the other side. He allowed himself a dry smile. Thank you. I didn't say it was a favor, she said, then paused. But I have studied your kind. Your history is not forgotten. With a bow she left. The door hissed shut behind her. Alone again, Rourke opened a secure comm channel. No encryption was safe from council-level intrusion, but Earth had its own tricks. Luna command. A voice answered instantly. Sharp. Female. No pleasantries. It's me, he said. How far along is Operation Harbinger? Phase 2 completed last cycle. Jupiter fleet standing by. Black Site Artemis deployed. 3 Hunter-class dreadnoughts in slip space holding pattern. And casualties? 0. So far. Rourke exhaled. Good. Maintain silence. Don't engage unless fired upon. The voice hesitated. Sir, if they breach Mars orbit, we may not have the luxury. If we fire first, we lose the moral ground. Let them make the mistake. Aye, sir. And the council? Rourke looked at the brandy. Still untouched. They just lit the match. He closed the channel. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he paced. Thought. Listened. He heard the voices of Earth's past, leaders who had tried to bring peace, only to be betrayed. Treaties broken. Warnings ignored. Humanity had once torn itself apart. World wars, famines, genocides. And yet they survived. They learned. And they remembered. That was the part the galaxy didn't grasp. Humanity didn't restrain itself because it was afraid of others. It restrained itself because it was afraid of itself. The next day, the council reconvened. The results were not surprising. Red lights outnumbered blue nearly 2-1. Threxel stood with smug satisfaction. By majority vote, Earth is hereby subject to disarmament oversight. Effective immediately. He turned to Rourke. Ambassador, you will signal your government. A fleet will arrive in 12 hours to begin inspection and dismantling procedures. Rourke rose slowly. I appreciate the Council's swift judgment, he said evenly. It confirms everything we suspected. You will comply, Threxel said. Or Earth will be considered in rebellion. Rourke stepped away from the podium and walked to the center of the chamber. He tapped a device on his wrist. A hologram flickered to life, images of the Zorkai fleet approaching Earth, time-stamped and authenticated. Gasps spread like fire. You call us violators, Rourke said, voice cutting through the chamber like a scalpel. Yet your fleet has already crossed into our system. Without cause. Without vote. Without honor. Threxel's mandibles flared. That data is fabricated. Speak that lie again, Rourke snapped, and I'll broadcast the sensor data across every star system in this sector. Kralek gurgled nervously. Order. Ambassador, this is highly irregular. No, Rourke said, turning to face the council. This is irregular. Declaring oversight while launching a secret assault? That's not law. That's tyranny. Silence followed. Dense. Paralyzing. He straightened. Earth will respond. Not with conquest. Not with extermination. But with clarity. He looked each delegate in the eye. Understand this, you have poked a world that chose peace. You have assumed restraint meant impotence. But we are the descendants of fire and fury. And if your fleets fire on us... He paused. Let the silence speak. You will not get a second chance to regret it. With that, he walked out, the council chamber behind him gripped in quiet dread. Outside, his assistant waited, pale and breathless. Ambassador, she said. Do we begin? Rourke looked at her, eyes tired but resolute. Send the code, he said. Which one? He didn't blink. Iron Veil. Phase 3. Darkness loomed over Earth's second moon base, Hecate Station, orbiting Titan, where Lieutenant Commander Sarah Adani monitored tactical readouts in total silence. The bridge lights were dimmed, red for alert status, but no klaxons sounded. Humanity had learned long ago that true danger didn't need noise. Just readiness. Her console blinked twice. Then 3 more times. Confirming contact. Multiple warp shadows. 8 ships. Zorkai signatures, said the technician beside her. Adani stood. Visual? A hologram shimmered to life, a black void streaked with ghostly shapes. Massive Zorkai carriers moved in from the edge of Saturn's rings, running quiet. No beacons, no communications. Just mass and intent. They haven't pinged us, her tactical officer noted. They don't plan to, Adani replied, pulling her officer's badge from her neck. She snapped it into a console. Send alert to Luna Command, the ghosts are real. Initiate blackout. All stations go cold. Lights across the base dimmed further, until the stars outside shone brighter than the interior. Life support remained. Everything else went dark. No energy spikes. No sudden movement. Just waiting. Because Earth wouldn't be the one to strike first. That was Rourke's order. Let them make the mistake. Back on the council station, Ambassador Elias Rourke sat in his chambers, alone, eyes fixed on a silent holoscreen. Earth's outposts were now shadowed by over 20 alien ships. None had fired. Yet. A second transmission came in from Mars Relay Station. Scrambled but urgent. Words broke through the static. Power loss. Orbital Relay 3, station integrity compromised. We are. The signal cut. No explosions. Just silence. Surgical interference. He knew what that meant. Threxel was testing boundaries. Crippling infrastructure while maintaining deniability. No overt attack, but enough to destabilize Earth's outer colonies, push public panic, and bait a response. His aide entered quietly. Sir, we just lost contact with Europa's Calm Tower. Rourke turned, face unreadable. Still no formal declaration? No. They're calling them tactical verifications. Cowards, Rourke muttered. They want us to break first. He stood. Get me a line to Commander Vance at Luna Command. Encrypted. No council channels. Yes, sir. As she left, Rourke moved to the window. The Therian Prime glowed below, opulent, serene. But the storm was already here. And Earth wasn't going to absorb another blow without response. On Luna Command, beneath the gray surface of Earth's moon, Admiral Leona Vance stood before a long row of officers. The war table glowed with quiet menace. Proximity warnings flared along the solar border. One officer glanced at her. Admiral, Mars Command is fully dark. Europa Station lost 3 towers. No confirmed casualties, yet. Vance nodded, her voice level. Orders remain. No engagement unless fired upon. A younger officer spoke up. But Admiral, if we wait. She cut him off with a glance. If we wait, they fire first. That gives us the narrative. The high ground. The room was quiet. Vance turned to her aide. Status of Operation Harbinger? Fleet Harbinger is in slip space, holding position behind Neptune's shadow. Dreadnoughts Cairo, Fenrir, and Magnus are fully powered. Awaiting go code. And Iron Veil? Fully deployed. All black site units positioned in deep orbit around Alpha Centauri, with stealth drones seated across Council comm routes. Vance nodded once. Then all that remains is patience. Back in orbit over Titan, Hecate Station watched as the first mistake was made. A pulse wave, short, silent, burst from the lead Zorkai cruiser. The base trembled. EMP discharge! Shouted the technician. Shields holding, but our outer relays are toast. Another flash. This time, a comms buoy exploded. Sarah Adani stared at the crackling display. They weren't just probing anymore. They fired. Everyone looked at her. I repeat, she said, voice suddenly cold. They have fired. There was no more waiting. 2 minutes later, in Earth's deep military channel, Vance received the signal. Confirmation, hostile action detected. Hecate Station partially disabled. Zorkai weapons confirmed. Vance didn't hesitate. Send this to Rourke, they drew first blood. She turned to her officers. Initiate Aegis Unbound. Harbinger Fleet, engage with full spectrum protocols. Target power cores, weapon systems only. No civilian losses. Aye, Admiral. The orders rippled across space like lightning. From behind Neptune's cold shadow, 3 massive shapes began to emerge, black as obsidian, silent as the void. Earth's hidden dreadnoughts moved like predators. Each over 6 kilometers long, their hulls pulsed with energy fields never before seen by alien eyes. No primitive metal. No exposed plating. Sleek, stealth-coated, layered in quantum shielding. They bore no flags. Just one marking, painted beneath their hulls in white. We warned you. The first to fall was the Zorkai command cruiser Trathax. It never saw the Fenrir coming. A pinpoint kinetic lance sliced through its power core, disabling shields without a sound. It didn't explode. It collapsed, lights dying like a snuffed flame. The rest of the fleet scattered, confused. Their ships had prepared for primitive resistance, not coordinated strikes from invisible attackers. Every Zorkai missile launched was intercepted mid-flight. every plasma turret silenced before its third shot. Within 17 minutes, Earth's Harbinger fleet had disabled 11 enemy ships. None were destroyed. All were left adrift. That was the message. In the council chamber, Threxel was preparing another speech when the hollow feeds shifted, unplanned. The council's private security feeds, supposedly locked, suddenly played footage across every screen. It was raw. Undeniable. Zorkai warships spiraling, powerless. Human ships, silent, vast, hovering like dark gods over them. A red sigil blinked beneath each feed. No aggression. No conquest. No mercy for liars. Transmission ended. Threxel stumbled back, rage breaking through composure. Who authorized this? The room was silent. Then someone asked the question he feared most. Where did humans get this technology? No one had an answer. Except one man. Rourke stood in the rear of the hall. He hadn't been invited to this session, but he was watching. When Threxel locked eyes with him, the human diplomat gave the smallest nod. Then turned and walked away. Deep in orbit above Neptune's shadow, the human fleet Harbinger held formation like a ghost armada reborn. Not a single signal escaped them, not one beacon, not one pulse. They were present, and yet invisible. Predators carved from silence. On board the HSS Magnus, Admiral Leona Vance stood before a three-dimensional war map. Zorkai's ships drifted across it, disabled, not destroyed. Strategically crippled. No bloodshed. No escape. The control room lights were low, screens humming with minimal noise. Nothing flashy. Only precision. They've initiated emergency recovery protocols, her comms officer reported. Rescue vessels from Threxel's war arm have entered the outer fringe, but none are crossing into Sol. Vance nodded, arms behind her back. Good. Keep it that way. The officer hesitated. Should we pursue? No. Let them crawl home. She turned to face her bridge crew. This wasn't retaliation. It was a statement. Back on Veltharion Prime, the council chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Delegates whispered in their own dialects, clicks, growls, harmonics, ultrasonic pulses, none of them carrying confidence anymore. The footage of Earth's fleet hadn't just surprised them. It had unseated them. Ambassador Rourke walked in through the high archway, unaccompanied. No aides. No guards. He didn't need them now. The room quieted as he approached the podium. No one stopped him this time. Even Threxel was absent, nursing what little pride he had left in private chambers. The Zorkai delegation sat rigid and mute. Rourke looked around. Not with arrogance, certainty. Yesterday, he began, you demanded we disarm. Today, you ask how we ever built those ships. Silence. No treaties were broken. No oversight was skipped. You just assumed Earth was too primitive. Too new. Too restrained. He let that word linger. Our silence was mistaken for weakness. That was your error. Kralek's gelatinous body shifted nervously. You showed great restraint, Ambassador. No casualties, but disabling Council ships, without authorization, is still. Rourke raised a hand. You want to talk about restraint? He tapped his wrist console. Another set of holographic images filled the chamber, this time, internal schematics of the Harbinger dreadnoughts. Not full blueprints, but enough to convey one idea. Every one of them could have vaporized the enemy's ships outright. Instead, they targeted non-lethal systems only: reactor cores, propulsion arrays, weapon channels. Precision warfare. No chaos. No revenge. Just demonstration. Every species here, Rourke continued, told us peace meant disarmament. But the truth is, peace means preparation, with discipline. We chose not to escalate. We chose not to conquer. That's our strength. Councillor Velari stood from the Chlorathi tier. Then what does Earth want now? Rourke turned to her. We want balance. We will not occupy. We will not retaliate beyond what's been done. But we will not be threatened again. Not with fleets. Not with decrees. Not with lies masked as law. He paused, letting the declaration settle. You want to inspect our ships? We say no. You want us to surrender weapons? We say no. You want war? His voice dropped, almost a whisper, but it hit like thunder. We finish wars. In private, behind locked doors, Threxel roared. His claws shattered a marble table. Zorkai aides cowered, pressed against the walls. This was a trick, he hissed. A coordinated deception. Earth could not have built that alone. One of his aides spoke carefully. Perhaps they didn't. Threxel froze. Explain. The aide licked dry lips. There were whispers. Ancient archives, before humans joined the council. Long-range probes intercepted signals decades ago. Distorted. Powerful. Then silence. Signals from where? Unknown origin. Deep void. Possibly pre-human contact. Threxel's mind raced. You think Earth found something? The aide hesitated, then nodded. Or someone. At Luna Command, Rourke appeared via hololink before Admiral Vance. The command center was calm but focused, every officer at their station, every screen showing updated star maps. They're spinning now, Vance said. Trying to understand how we got here. They won't, Rourke replied. Not unless we let them. She raised an eyebrow. Do we? He considered it. No. Let them fear the unknown. That fear will hold longer than any treaty. Vance gave a slow nod. And Earth? Standing by. Proud. But wary. He looked directly into the hollow. They've seen what we built in silence. Now they understand why we kept it quiet. Her mouth tightened. Do we believe the Council will let this go? No, Rourke said. But they'll think twice before poking the bear again. Later, as the galactic media digested what had happened, Rourke issued one final public broadcast from the human embassy. No theatrics, no warnings, just truth. Humanity did not come to the stars to dominate. We came to prove we could evolve. But peace is not surrender. And diplomacy is not servitude. If you seek cooperation, you'll find our hand extended. If you seek conquest, remember what you saw today. On distant colony worlds, Kellner, K9, Evina Prime, young alien children watched the footage of Earth's dreadnoughts with wide eyes. To them, it was legend. Power, held and not abused. To their leaders, it was a problem. To Earth, it was a message delivered and received. The Titans they thought forgotten had never been gone. They had only been waiting. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so still. Not in war, not in plague, not even during the collapse of the Halari Accord. This silence was different. It wasn't grief or fear. It was uncertainty. Dozens of delegates sat in rigid silence, their postures varying by biology, but all carrying the same unease. No one looked at the Zorkai delegation, who had remained silent since the footage of Earth's surgical counterattack. Rourke entered late, flanked by no security, dressed in the same dark suit. This time, no one dared to sneer. No one whispered. He walked with deliberate calm to the center of the chamber, eyes scanning each alien face. The pause stretched long enough to become uncomfortable. Then he spoke. 72 hours ago, Earth was labeled a threat. We were accused of deceit, of militarization, of plotting against the Council. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. And yet, when we were provoked, when attacked, we responded with discipline. Not destruction. No alien lives lost. No territories taken. No colonies razed. He turned slightly. Do any of your nations honestly believe another species would have shown such restraint in our place? No answer. He took a step forward. We could have broken the Zorkai fleet in 2 minutes. We could have shut down half this council's infrastructure before your security AI even noticed a breach. He let the silence settle like dust. But we didn't. Because Earth doesn't seek dominion. We seek respect. High-legged Threxel burst from his seat, voice strained with desperation. Your fleet was unauthorized. Hidden from the Council's oversight. A violation of. Rourke cut him off with a glance so sharp it felt like a blade. Oversight? You sabotaged our satellites. You sent ships cloaked into our system before the Council even voted. You assassinated our voice before it could speak. And when we refused to kneel, you forced our hand. Threxel faltered. You feared what we might become, so you struck first. And now, the galaxy knows. Rourke turned to face the room once more. We are what you feared. But not because we're monstrous. Because we're measured. Because we waited. He paused, then continued in a voice colder than before. And because we only fight when we've been given no other choice. Kralek, voice trembling, finally spoke. What does Earth ask for now? Rourke didn't blink. Nothing. Murmurs rose and fell. No reparations? Velari of the Clorathi asked. No demands for territory? For council seats? We don't want your seats, Rourke replied. We want your truth. The galaxy needs to see Earth not as an anomaly, but as a standard. He scanned the chamber slowly. There will be no war tribunal. No counter-invasion. But if a single Zorkai vessel crosses into human space again, unannounced, armed, or with intent, we will not disable it. We will erase it. Dead silence. Threxel's mandibles twitched. But he said nothing. Rourke took a breath. We came here in peace. But Earth is no longer asking for respect. We are expecting it. With that, he turned and walked away. Hours later, in the private chambers reserved for post-session debriefs, Rourke met with Velari alone. No aides. No pretense. You've changed things, she said. He nodded. About time. The younger species, those on the fringes, they'll follow your example now. They already are, Rourke replied. We've been contacted by 6 of them. All asking for cooperation. Not domination. Just alliance. She looked at him closely. You could build an empire. He frowned. Empires rot from within. Earth doesn't need more territory. We need trust. Velari leaned forward. And the Zorkai? We're watching, he said simply. On the outer rim of Sol System, HSS Fenrir monitored faint blips on long-range scans. Zorkai vessels remained well outside boundary lines, hovering like wary scavengers. The commander of the Fenrir gave a quiet order, hold position. They did. No missiles launched. No warnings flashed. The threat had been stated. Repeating it would be redundant. Across dozens of alien star systems, footage of Earth's black-armored dreadnoughts replayed endlessly. Children imitated the warships with toys. Scholars debated the ethics of restraint in power. Generals rewrote doctrine. Humanity had become a paradox. They didn't conquer, but couldn't be conquered. They didn't start the war, but they finished the message. A week later, as Earth rotated beneath its sun, Ambassador Elias Rourke returned home. He stepped off the shuttle into the halls of Lunar Command, greeted not with cheers or applause, but quiet nods. Respect. Understanding. Admiral Vance met him in the corridor. We were watching, she said. Every word. Then you know it's not over. She nodded. It never really is. They stood in silence, watching Earth from the viewport. So what now? She asked. Rourke's voice was quiet, resolute. We prepare. But not for war. He turned to face her. We prepare for leadership.